All right, welcome back to Jake Talk Star Wars. And today we're going to go over episode 4, season 1, episode 4 of Star Wars Rebels, Fight or Flight. I took some notes while I was watching. I watched this with my oldest, so I included some of her thoughts as well. But let's get into it. So we're in season 1 of Rebels still, and we're still learning about all of these characters, Kanan, Ezra and Zeb, and everybody else. We're still learning about all these characters and what makes them tick and what makes them kind of, unique and who they are. We're only 4 episodes in, so we're still getting introduced to everybody. And I love how the episode kind of opens with slice of life. It opens with them being them. They're being people, regular people. They're running around on the ship. They're causing havoc. They're annoying the crap out of Hera and Kanan, and it's just them being people, which is really funny. One of the things I thought was interesting in this, and again, we don't know it all yet, right? I'm looking at this from a person who's watched the series a few times, is familiar with the characters. Zeb is a full-grown Lasat, right? He is a full-grown Lasat male, full adult. He's not like late teens, early 20s. He's like a full-on adult Lasat male, and he is sharing a room with a 14-year-old human child. No wonder he is grumpy all the time, because on his planet he was an important dude. He was the captain of the honor guard. He had a prestigious job and is a full-grown adult person. And he's sharing a room with a 14-year-old human child who they picked up off the streets. I'd be grumpy too. But I digress. So the driving force behind this episode is the errand that Hera sends Zeb and Ezra on. She sends them on an errand to pick up supplies, food supplies, no big deal. But she also tasks them with retrieving a specific type of fruit, a Meluron fruit, because Hera has a craving. Now, I laugh every time I watch this episode, because if you are married, or if you have a spouse, or if you have a mom or a sister or something like that, you've probably encountered in your life a person sending you to the store to retrieve a thing that they have a craving for. That is a real life thing that will happen to you someday if it hasn't happened already. And it makes me laugh every time, because it is truly a slice of life. But anyway, one of the things my oldest really likes about this episode is Hera, and how motherly Hera is with all of them, even with Zeb, even with Ezra. So we get this journey that Zeb and Ezra go on to go get these supplies, and they get all the supplies, no problem, right? No conflict. They find the fruit that they need, the Meluron fruit that they so desperately need, but the Empire buys all of it. The Empire, for whatever reason, buys all of it, because apparently maybe they got somebody with a craving too, I don't know. But the Empire buys all of it, and now we've gone from a regular run-of-the-mill day at the market to a heist, right? And not like Kanan and Ezra Ezra and Zeb need a reason to fight with the Empire, but now they are going to fight with the Empire and potentially put people's lives in danger to get some fruit. So we get the heist. One of the things I noticed in this episode, and one of the things I continue to notice, is just how stellar the music on these episodes are. Right? The music in this series, the music on these episodes is just top notch. It's not like the Clone Wars, right? I've been rewatching some episodes of the Clone Wars as well lately, and the Clone Wars music is good, but sometimes is a little weird, techno-y, doesn't really feel like a Star Wars movie. They do such a good job of making the music in Rebels feel like a Star Wars movie almost all the time. Just something that I think is really, really neat, really interesting. So for the majority of this episode, we see that Ezra and Zeb are trying to carry off this heist, trying to get done with this heist. We see them bickering back and forth. We see them arguing. We don't really see them working together very effectively. But eventually, we do see Ezra calling on the Force and using the Force in positive ways to achieve his ends, to help Zeb to get done what he needs to get done. So these connections to the Force are starting to pay off. And of course, eventually, Ezra and Zeb steal a TIE fighter, which I think is just stellar, right? That's going to pay off later too, right? But they steal this TIE fighter, and of course, Kanan and Hera are just beside themselves that they've blown up this routine task into this huge thing. And I love, I love the buddy dynamic that Ezra and Zeb fall into, right? Because earlier in the episode, they're really clashing, they're arguing, they're bickering like siblings. But then, much like siblings, once things settle down and they start working together, and they're starting to work together to report back to Hera and Kanan, the buddy dynamic, hey, that went well, that went better than I thought it would. That buddy dynamic really starts to fall in place, and I think it's almost effortless how it falls into place. And again, if you have siblings or if you have friends, you kind of feel that way sometimes with people maybe you were once at odds with or had recently been arguing with. So I like that as well. So talking about the episode, though, seriously, because there's other aspects of this episode, right? The farmers in this episode are going to get freed by Ezra and Zeb. They're going to rescue these farmers in the process of stealing this fruit. They're choosing to rescue these farmers. They don't need to rescue the farmers to get the fruit for Hera. They don't need to, but they do anyway. And again, it kind of goes into that whole doing the right thing, regardless of whether it's convenient or whether it's easy or whatever. It's the right thing because it's the right thing. But I love how they opted to rescue the farmers, and I love how Ezra uses the Force again. He's able to call on the Force to achieve this end. But what I really like in this episode, and it's something I wrote down, is that the Empire is really shaking people down in this episode, right? They're shaking down regular people. These are just goons, right? These aren't the Sith. These aren't Inquisitors. These aren't Palpatine or Vader. These are just guys. These are just Imperial officers and troops shaking down regular citizens for their stuff or for their farmland. And it really shows what the Empire does and the kind of impact that the Empire has on real people. Something I think this series does really well is they show, there's these larger conflicts versus the Sith, or these larger conflicts versus the Inquisitors. But this is also a conflict against other people who are a part of this government, who are a part of this regime, who are mistreating individuals for no particular reason, right? There's no reason to shake down these farmers and take their stuff or take their land, but they do anyway. So we get that kind of that Robin Hood vibe between Ezra and Zeb. And again, you get to see that kid-friendly version of the kind of impact that the Empire has on individuals. And this is something you see in Andor later, right? As an adult, you see this in the Andor series too. It's a little more extreme. It's a little more adult in the Andor series, but same kind of thing of like Imperial troops, Imperial officers, Imperial troops, just kind of hazing and razzing and shaking down civilians for no particular reason other than the fact that they can. So that's something I think is important. I like seeing that in this episode. I like seeing that carried out in other places as well. So I like how this episode goes, how it goes from like a regular just chore to a heist, to rescuing the farmers and saving the farmers, to Zeb and Ezra being friends at the end of it and being colleagues and friends at the end of it. And I really love how it ends with them I really love how it ends with Sabine, painting their room and kind of immortalizing their shenanigans. Because again, that's just more characterization for all the different characters in the show. So that's episode 4, Fight or Flight. It's another great little show, another great little episode that kind of continues to build on these characters and introduce us to these characters. So I am happy to have watched that. I loved watching it with my oldest. She offered her input. She loves, she loves all the slapstick stuff, but she also loves the dynamic between Hera and the rest of the crew, and how Sabine kind of gives them the business and things. She likes that as well. So that's it for this episode of Jake Talks Star Wars for Season 1, Episode 4, Fight or Flight. Stay tuned. Next time I'm going to be talking about the episode Rise of the Old Masters, where Ezra and Kanan are going to get into some serious Jedi stuff. And we're going to see what happens next and see who we encounter and how they are encountered. And I'm excited for that. So stick around. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, be good to each other out there. Take care of each other. And as usual, as always, may the Force be with you.